Okay, anyways, sorry, but, so I started to get over things by July, and I deleted everything. I had a rage day where I was so furious about all of it, and I took everything I'd written, everything I got, everything I bought that was just like random, every memento that I saved from special days, I threw all of that out. I ripped everything up. I broke many a canvas that I had done. There was a lot that happened. I stopped a lot of my drawing during that time. I stopped writing, I stopped reading, I stopped all my hobbies basically because I was just out of it. I was so done. And by August, we went to go and see my mom's friend, which involved me seeing my first ex, but him and I get along really well. Like, we talk every so often. We don't have much to say. We're very boring people. But he's still a good guy, and he's been there for me through all of it. I was scared to tell him that I was bi. I was scared to tell him I was in a relationship with somebody else. And he's accepted all of it. And he was there for me when I went through my breakup. And when I told him at the time that I was demisexual, he inquired and sat and listened. And I told him I was in a relationship now too, and he said he was happy for me and that he just wants me to be happy, and I want the same for him. Like, he's still one of my best friends, and we're still close. It's just not a relationship, it's friendship. I mean, that's a type of relationship, I guess, but that is beside the point. So anyway, so I went and I got out of town for a bit, which was great. Because unfortunately, me being who I am, I see a memory and I get drawn back. There was a park we'd gone to, and that was where we had our first kiss, was under the trees of that park. And it was so close to my house. I saw it all the time, and it just broke my heart to go there. I knew where he worked, and of course it was right at the front of town. So every time I'd go to leave town, I'd see it, and I naturally sat and looked to see if he was working. And so getting out of town was great. I tried really hard when I got back not to look, not to bring that stuff back, but it happened. And as of September 14th, well, 13th technically, but 14th when it went well. The 14th, I made a Instagram account that is all pride related. Like, it's basically a place for me to just be myself and be happy and safe. And I made that in April, but I had it private for a while. And I went on there in September, and I went live. And every time somebody came on, I warned them that I don't know what I'm doing. This is my first time. I'm very this is probably gonna be boring. And everybody left, really quick. And then I saw one little notification show up that an account had joined my life. Much like the other ones, I said, this is probably gonna be pretty boring. It's my first time going live, and I don't really know what I'm doing. And they stayed. I was completely flabbergasted. They sat and talked with me. I was working on some stuff for the school year, and we sat and talked, and there was just this instant connection, and they chose everything I would have when I asked for their opinion for what I was working on. It was honestly incredible, and I felt so different that day. Because, like, I'd started feeling better when I started hanging out with my best friend, but that was in a very different way, where I feel like she wound up making up for what I didn't realize was wrong with my friendships, and there was still that part of me that was just like, it needed to be fixed, but there was a certain way it needed to be fixed, and I got that. We talked for a solid 2 hours, and the next thing I know, they say, hey, I'm going on to my personal account so I can follow you, and then I'll come back on here, so because they were on a group account. And I said okay, and I waited, and came up, and I followed them back after that. And they joined every single one of my lives following that. I told them all about my ex. I told them about my friend. I told them about everything. And I didn't feel scared. This was somebody I just met, but I knew. Like, there was that part of me, it knew. And I think that's one of the first things, to know that you're actually in love, and that it's not just a crush, or that you feel like you need to. It's that you do know. And while you might think you know at the time and it's not right, that's okay. Because eventually you'll see when it's actually right. Because it'll be so much different. It'll be everything you don't want and everything you do. And so when they joined, that was when I found out that it was another girl, which made sense as to why they were so inclined to, why she was so inclined to talk to me, and why she didn't leave. Like, she understood, I guess. And we started texting, and we talked about our birthdays, and we wished each other happy birthday immediately. Like, it was great because we had met just before both of our birthdays. And, well, to this day we still talk, which, that sounds stupid because it's only May. It's only been, 8 months on the 14th. Yeesh. The best part is that while it's been long distance, we were in different countries. We became friends, and we caught feelings. And to be honest, I've never believed in relationship soulmates. I don't believe there's one person that fits you. Mel and I've talked about it. It doesn't make sense. There's no way there's one ideal mate for everybody. I believe that there are soulmate friends, don't get me wrong. Like, my best friend, I'm so sure that she's my soulmate. But every part of me, every instinct, my heart, my head, they all agreed that there was something different about her. And while we talked about our feelings, we didn't want to do anything until we could be in person. And I eventually got fed up. I asked her if she still wanted to wait, and she asked if like how I felt about it. And after talking, we got together, and I know relationships can happen in the most absurd ways, but her and I, we spent the time getting to know each other, and, you know, we've never had the chance to call, and that's the unfortunate part, but we both have such different schedules. But we've watched each other go live dozens of times each, and she joined my live one day and we sat and talked that way, and it was great. And every part of her, and the more I learn about her, it just makes me fall more in love with her. And the best part is that she gets me. It's not, like, I know it sounds so cliche, but she does. I've checked before to make sure that we're still on the same page, and we're working really hard at it because it's long distance, and it's definitely hard, don't get me wrong, but long distance is possible, which a lot of people say it isn't, and they're lying. It is possible, but you just need to put in the work. So, with that, I want to go into why I wanted to make a second part and didn't just keep it into one. For one, I want to talk about, at least for me, what I looked for in somebody and how I felt, like how I actually felt throughout the time of getting to know my girlfriend. And the other thing I want to talk about is just, you know, maintaining relationships, long distance or close. So starting with, you know, what I wanted to find in a partner, you know, I wanted somebody that I felt like I could talk to without being scared, like without worrying that they were going to judge me or that they were going to spill what I said to somebody else. There were dozens of things that made me feel worried to ever tell anybody about myself. And I've gone through quite a bit of stuff, and nobody ever understands. So 9 times out of 10, people leave because they don't get it. And, you know, I wanted to find somebody that wasn't going to judge me for my interests, because I had done that. I was judged for the things I liked and was bugged about it, and was bugged for my music taste, for the fact that I still listen to Disney, or I listen to things from Disney movies that I enjoy that are like live action ones. And that's okay. Disney is for all ages, and it doesn't matter. It wasn't their call what I listened to, and I just didn't pay attention to that. So, you know, I wanted to find somebody that, while we don't have to share the same interests, which, while we share some, like, she shares my love of Disney, we don't share the same love of Marvel. I love the MCU. She hasn't really gone into it. And it's the same with Harry Potter. I love Harry Potter, but she didn't get into it. And that's okay. We've both found books from our childhood that we both really enjoyed, and just had so many things that made sense. You know, I wanted a relationship with somebody who understood me. And I don't mean just somebody that, like, you know, I could tell them what was going on and it was the whole, okay, like, let's get through it or do this. But somebody that, like, to some degree understands what I'm going through and isn't just playing along, you know? That isn't just kind of giving up on learning. And I personally needed that, because it's just everything. So, you know, I needed somebody that I wasn't fearing was going to cheat on me. I needed somebody that didn't ignore me, that didn't make me try to put in all the effort. And that was what I got with her. And that leads me into my next thing about how it felt for me to realize that I was in love. So, I mean, for starters, was just how instantly we clicked. And it's so weird because I don't open up to people well. Like, it takes me a long time. And I felt so safe to talk to her. And I knew it was okay. I had no reason to trust her. I had no knowledge of who she was. But there was something that made sense. And when we started texting, it was the fact that we both had very similar ways of going about things. And after we've admitted feelings, it was before I guess I should probably finish telling about me catching feelings before I go into what just makes it a better relationship and proves that it's right. Every time I talk to her, I posted different selfie spams on my Instagram, and I always thought about taking them down. And before we even had feelings for each other, she would comment on them and tell me I was beautiful or whatever, and nobody I had dated or been friends with ever said that stuff to me. It didn't matter how hard I tried. I'm not one to wear makeup, and it made things really suck because, you know, I just didn't feel positive about myself. I just kind of ignored it. And she made me happy to be who I was, and she just made me feel accepted. And then, you know, she was somebody that didn't just brush it off when I asked a question about something LGBT related, because I don't know everything about it. Like, I want to get to a point where I know a large sum of information, but I don't yet. It's something I have to learn, just like everybody else. And I want to. And because of her, she took the time to help me figure out who I am. And it's great. This year, I took off a lot of masks that I hid behind. While I still fake smiles from time to time, it's not as much as before. I'm not scared to have a day where I don't feel super happy and excited and whatever else. She made everything work. Everything made sense. Everything just fell into place as soon as I met her. And I wouldn't change anything that happened. It's just been perfect. And I love it. I love every part of it. But the things that have made this so much better, and it was before we got into a relationship, but after we'd admitted that, you know, we had caught feelings, I was live and we were talking, and I mentioned how I hated in my last 2 relationships that I put in all the effort, that, you know, they never texted first, and it really sucked. And the next day, I woke up to a good morning message from her. And I think that was one of the first times I'd ever seen that from her. And so I said good morning back, and I was like, I'm kind of surprised to see you text first. And right then and there, she proved she was so much different, because she admitted that she had paid attention to what I said and realized that she hadn't really started conversations. And I wasn't trying to make her think that I was talking about her. Like, it honestly hadn't even clued into me. But she took the initiative, she listened to what I said, and she did something about it, which was something that neither of my previous partners had done. They didn't take what I said to them into consideration. And that proved so much different to me. And like, my best friend and her, they got along so well. And mind you, they met online too, and I still haven't had the chance to meet her in person. But my friend, like, they got along, and that made me so happy. And just everything, it feels right when you realize you're in love. Because you can have puppy love where it's, you know, the cuddly, just sweet, childish love that, you know, starts you off and just gives you the chance to learn. And you can have the loves that you can love so hard and so much, and it makes you get hurt just as much because you've tried and it wasn't worth it. But then there's true love, which is what I finally have, and it has taken a long time to find that. But that's the love where, you know, you're meeting in the middle, and you don't just constantly question when it's gonna end, or if it's gonna end, because I don't think I've ever thought about what if it ends between me and her. And that's a good thing. You shouldn't be worried about the what ifs. Just live the way that you're living. Unless it is toxic, then definitely question the things. But anyways, the last thing I want to touch on, and this is unfortunately going long, and I apologize. When it comes to maintaining your relationships, it's not as hard as you'd think, but it also involves a lot of effort, which can be hard for people. For one, communication is a huge thing. When you're in person, obviously making sure that you're comfortable with whatever's happening and that you aren't moving fast, because if you're moving too fast for yourself, just be honest, and if they can't handle that, then too bad. You're allowed to move at the pace that you feel is right. You shouldn't be pressured into moving any faster. And if your partner mentions to you that they need to slow it down, then if you want to maintain that relationship, just figure that out. Figure out where you guys want to be and figure out how to get through that. You shouldn't disregard how they feel. That's their feelings. And that's just how it is. So with that, you know, you want to keep communication, and when you're in a long distance relationship, just make sure that you're talking to each other. Make sure that you're, even if it's just a simple, like, if you have a busy day, just give them a quick, you know, good morning text, or send the I love you text, or just send a good night text. It's not that hard. It takes 5 seconds, and it can make a world of a difference to at least show them that you're thinking about them. Don't wait for them to text you. Unless you've been putting in all the effort. But if they're always texting, or you're just constantly waiting for them to respond, send them a text, because if they've been putting in the effort and you haven't, or you haven't been putting in enough, they're gonna give up. And I've done that. It's sucked. And just communicate. Like, I've texted my girlfriend to make sure that we're still on the same page, that we still want to keep doing this, that we still keep wanting to do the long distance thing, because I know it can be hard. I've done it before, and I made sure that she still wanted to be in it. And while she responded to me, she checked to make sure that I still wanted to as well. And I explained to her why, like, I feel like I need to check, because my relationships have gone so terribly, even being in the same town. So just stay communicating. Don't let your relationship fall apart just because you don't want to tell them something that you're worried about, or it's bugging you, or that's just making you unhappy. And even if they do something that makes you happy, just mention it. Just tell them that, you know, they make you happy and that you're glad to have them in your life. Because being affirmative with the stuff that, you know, you enjoy or that makes you happy with them, it's a good thing to know. And if there's something that's bugging you, then just mention it. Because, like, as far as I know, I stay as open with my girlfriend and vice versa, where we've talked about the things that, you know, we don't want. We've talked about some things that, you know, are kind of off. But while we don't always get in a good night text, we always get in our good morning text. And, well, 9 times out of 10 I have my phone on me. She runs a very busy schedule. But as soon as she gets a chance, even if it winds up being 4 o'clock in the afternoon, she will still send a good morning text. Just to respond to the best of her abilities. Because I wake up later than she does, because she's an hour ahead of me. So by the time I get up, you know, it's already almost, like, it's already into the day for her. And she still takes the time. Obviously during the week she has more options, but, you know, she does her best to answer as soon as she can. And even if we don't get a full conversation in a day, it's fine. We both know that the other one's there, and if it really comes down to it, we know they'll be there. Like, the other one will be there for us if we really need something. And it's been immensely better than both of my previous relationships combined. So for what, like, communication is absolutely key. I feel like that's the main one. But just, you know, believe in each other, respect each other. Like, if you're worried that, you know, something's not right, like in a bad way, you know, you can always check in and just explain that you wanted to make sure. And it's never a bad thing to check and make sure that you're still wanting to be in that place. Because personally, I feel that if I had done that in my second relationship, it probably would have ended sooner, but it would have hurt less. And that's another reason I try really hard, or that I am trying really hard to check in every so often. And just enjoy the little things with each other. You don't have to go out on some big extravagant date. If you're long distance, you know, go onto Disney if you're in the same country, because I know for some places it's not, you know, possible. But you guys can both start a movie at the same time and watch a movie together. And if you can be in person, just enjoy each other's company, because personally I haven't gotten to do that yet. But I take every second I can to talk to her. And I'm going to continue to do that even after we're in person. You don't have to go to crazy places. You can spend the time in. You can just go out for a walk. Or, I mean, one thing I tried, and I might try eventually again. It's something I thought about bringing up, but I'm not sure yet. And I suggest it for those of you that can. But doing, especially during the pandemic, and I know it's almost done, but even if you guys are long distance or anything that makes it so you guys cannot be in person all the time, doing a long distance, like a virtual sleepover, never a bad idea. You don't have to be doing the same thing. You can just enjoy the fact that the other person's there. And if you want to, like, set your phone so that it's like this at night, so, you know, you don't have to have them watching you at night. Or, hell, you can even just hit end and call first thing in the morning again. Like, do what you can. And there can be board games you guys can play together, as long as nobody's cheating on the other end. Just enjoy whatever time you can with them, because every bit of it is worth it. There's nothing wrong with just enjoying each other's company without doing anything. You don't even have to have something on in the background. Just enjoy the time you have with them, because it makes it so much better if you're not just hanging out once in a while or talking once in a while. Like, prove you want a relationship, because they don't just run on once a week or once a month, or hell, even, you know, 2 or 3 times a week. Like, it's not gonna work. You just need to do your best to in some way communicate. But like I said, just send that quick good morning text, or the I love you or good night text. Just send something. Or, you know, just, if you're in person, just say it. Anyways, if you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you have any suggestions on how to make these less boring, please leave me your suggestions. Like I said in my first real video, and I will continue to express it here, if any of you are LGBT and are in the closet in any way, and, you know, you want a wallpaper that will hide your sexuality that's specific to you, I'm more than happy to design a wallpaper to the best of my abilities that fits you, that suits you, and makes, you know, you be able to have that one thing if you're in an unsafe environment, or if you're just not out yet. I've made wallpapers for my best friend and for my girlfriend, and I don't mind doing it. It takes no time, and I'll do my best to answer everything. I'll probably try to answer questions in videos if I can, if they're something that more people would want to know about. I just want to give you guys a quick update on the ideas I do have for videos that will be coming as soon as I can, because tomorrow I start back up school for the rest of the year. As you know, today was a day off, so, and yes, I have those during online school. It's pretty great. It just involves me not having a bunch of emails come in during the day. So I plan to do a video talking about friendship toxicity, which I hope will take less time than this. I'm gonna talk about family toxicity, which, mind you, I only have from my dad's family. You know what? It sucks because I don't want to call my dad, but I don't want to give names. So I'm gonna try to come up with something for that to be able to call him by. I do want to make a LGBT pop culture video. I'll tell you guys about some LGBT books I've read that are really great. Some that you can hide that they're LGBT if you need to, and some that are more out there. Yet again, I will grab this because I want to try to give people what they can to read. If you want to know more about Pride, get this. Little Book of Pride by Louis Laney. Also get This Book is Gay by Juno something. I meant to check and I don't remember. But if you guys, just mind you, they are both rainbow books. They talk about Pride. This one goes into the history of Stonewall. It goes into some inspirational quotes and facts and people that are LGBT. The other one, it talks about, it gives you like a sex ed area. It talks about different LGBT role models, different sexualities, genders. It's a very wide variety. So while this is a lot of history and like more public things, that's a lot more identity and just physical stuff. So I'm gonna do a video just kind of I'll actually go into detail about these books. I'm gonna take a break from the toxicity stuff because I want this to be a positive page, but there is gonna be some videos that are a little more difficult. So please understand that this is gonna be a real account. Like, I don't, that sounds terrible. I don't want to say that it's like other accounts are fake. I just mean like it's realistic and it's not me reading off a script, it's me actually going into things. But I'll go into some books that are great. I'll give you some that are a little bit more hidden in the LGBT realm, and some that, if you're good to, that are just good to have. I'll talk about some LGBT celebrities, movies, TV shows, or at least TV shows that show it really well that I've come to enjoy. And then some like influencers that are great to be following. So until next time, I will talk to you guys later. Please leave anything you'd like in the comments, and I just hope that this is going to be something that works, that is good for people to learn at least. So just know, these are my opinions, these are my stories. Yours may not be the same. Just don't argue with me about them, please. Or don't judge me for the decisions I've made. It's been my story. So if you leave any hate, you'll be blocked, especially when it's if it's towards me, my channel, my opinions, other people, you'll just be blocked. I'm not going to take the hate. Like I said, I want this to be a positive page, and that's how it's going to stay. So I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, night, evening, week, whatever you need. If you just need to talk to somebody, let me know that you need to talk to somebody, and I'll give you my Instagram, and you can feel free to text me. I will do my best. But anyways, I will talk to you all soon.